Hello everyone and welcome to This Week in Game of Thrones. Happy Labor Day to everybody out there, and welcome as we're about to talk about our post-draft and our preview for week 1 of our season. Guys, it's here and it is upon us, and we couldn't be more excited. But before we get to the start of the season in a few short days, we do kind of want to go back and talk about the draft a little bit, because as many of you may or may not know, Game of Thrones has partnered with HBO for a special documentary series we're going to be putting out here soon based on the success of what the Detroit Lions got to do. We decided to pick a team and highlight what they did this year, and instead of doing training camp, all that, we decided to focus mainly on what a team does to prepare on draft day, and well, here's a little preview for you guys at home.
This is Hillary Wells, and today will be her first fantasy football draft. A dedicated wife and mother, adding fantasy football champion would be just the cherry on top. Hillary and her team, Hufflepuff, Puff and Pass, have the first overall selection in the 2022 Game of Thrones draft, and she has used every spare moment to prepare.
Patrick Mahomes, quarterback. Derrick Henry, running back. Quasimodo, hunchback. Ribs, baby back.
While the goal is to win a championship, it's also about proving to her daughter that anyone can win a fantasy football title. Even forestry majors.
All right, thanks for that look, and you'll be seeing that sometime soon on HBO and HBO Max. Keep your eyes out for that. Now we're going to move on to looking over at the draft. That's right. While rumors swirled about who Hufflepuff, Puff, and Pass would take at number 1, it was still a surprise to have Panthers running back Christian McCaffrey taken over the heavily projected running back Jonathan Taylor from the Colts. This is the third straight season that McCaffrey has been selected as the Game of Thrones number 1 overall pick. Following the 15-round draft, which took less than an hour to complete, thank you everybody, Yahoo did release its projections for the 2022 regular season. According to those projections, it was Goff Uck Yourself and K-Dog's Foosball who would be taking the top 2 spots at the end of the regular season, followed by Nat 20 Sports Ball, Ball So Hard You, Monster Dash, and, no pun intended, rounding out the projected playoff contenders. On the flip side of things, Take It to the End Zone, Man Bear Pigs, Orange Crushing It, and Hufflepuff, Puff and Pass find themselves already as early season underdogs, projected to be the 4 finalists to compete in the Toilet Tournament. Now, fret not, guys. Projections are just those. We all know it depends on what you do during the season. It depends on your trades, your drops, your ads, all that stuff, how you manage your rosters, and injuries, of course, play a factor. And what really determines our projections at the end of the season. So we'll see how those compare when we get to that final week in Week 14, which, guys, is going to be here sooner than you think. And speaking of projections, guys, we have a very special treat for you this week, and hopefully every week up until the end of the season, because we have a special picker that is going to come in and hopefully provide us a video every week. We'll see how their schedule will dictate that. But, without further ado, guys, let me just toss it over to him and who he thinks is going to win this week.
We have Take It to the End Zone versus Hufflepuff and Pass. So Take It is either a player, coach, fantasy player, nobody at all, or a combination of the three. Hufflepuff and Pass is one of the most Reddit things I would have written in my MySpace page, but that is also my wife, and she frequently fraternizes with my married parts, so my wife wins. All right, no puns intended versus Nat 20 Sports Ball. That's a D&D reference, so I thought it'd be fun to roll a D20. However, Glenn is my DM, so it's going to take about a week before we hear the results. No punt intended is going to take home the gold and the Dungeons and the Dragons, and I don't care if you're moving into a house that you are currently building, Glenn. I want to level up so I can cast bigger pretend spells. Foosball is a sport that was invented in 1921 in Europe, and I can see how an expert in foosball could translate those skills to what Europe thinks is called football. But actual football, American football, is way different. The tabletop version uses vibrations to kind of like move the player's pieces aimlessly towards maybe the right end zone. And air hockey is way better than both of them. So Man Bear Pigs wins. Next up we have Orange Crushing It versus either Goth Uck Yourself or Jeff Fuck Yourself. I love Orange Crush, but if that's some sort of backwoods hipster bullshit way of spelling Jeff, you can go Jeff Uck Yourself yourself. Orange Crush is really bad for you, though, so I'm thinking it's either going to be a tie or somebody dies. We have Monster Dash versus Ball So Hard U. I love Monster Dash Ball So Hard University. It is my favorite sarcastic homage to a Pixar movie. But let's be serious. Monsters are cool, and college keeps asking me for donations and tuition. Monster Dash sounds like a cell phone game for 8-year-olds, so someone will definitely die. Thank you. I hope this is what you wanted me to do.
All right, and we'd like to thank Mr. Benjamin Wells for that fun video. Again, we hope to see him again every week from here to the end of the season. And, all right, guys, we're going to move on. We're going to talk about the Week 1 matchups. That's right, guys. Like we were saying, it's here. The season is finally about to kick off in 3 short days. And, you know, Thursday's going to be here before you know it. And we have several teams who are going to be going into action Thursday. Some will have to wait till Sunday. But let's get into it. All right, guys, we're going to start things off with Taya to the End Zone versus Hufflepuff, Puff, and Pass. Hufflepuff, Puff, and Pass's first game ever will be played this weekend, and as this year's newest member, they take on last year's third-place team, as well as a matchup of top 2 draft picks, which should be fun to watch. Over the course of the previous 3 years, Taya to the End Zone is 7-3 in their first-time matchups against a first-time opponent. Now moving on to Nat 20 Sports Ball, who's going to be playing No Punt Intended. And it is No Punt Intended who leads the all-time series 3-2. The last time these two teams faced off was in the final game of the regular season last year during the 7th place game, seeing Nat 20 Sports Ball come out on top. Next will be K-Dog's Foosball taking on the Man Bear Pigs. The defending champions of Game of Thrones have a 2-1 all-time series lead over the Man Bear Pigs. And the last time these two teams played one another was back in Week 10 of 2021, where K-Dog's Foosball won handily by 52.98 points. Next up will be Orange Crushing It versus Goth Uck Yourself. Orange Crushing It holds a 4-1 all-time record over Goth Uck Yourself. The last time these two teams played, Orange Crushing It was known as Rebecca's Rad Team and came out of their Week 8 matchup last season by a narrow 3.08 point victory. And finally, Monster Dash will play Ball So Hard U, where Monster Dash holds the all-time series record at 4-1. And it was back in Week 9 of last season that these two teams saw one another, with Monster Dash coming out on top. All right, there you have it, guys. Those are our matchups going into Week 1. We are very excited to see how everybody's going to do, and it's time, guys. These games are going to matter, and begins the journey to claim the title for 2022. And now, before we wrap this video up, I do want to address something that has been floating around the Twitter sphere, guys. And it is, some of you may know, you might have seen this tweet from Adam Schefter addressing a little glitch we had in last week's video. And yes, we haven't made any comment about it because it's just ludicrous and ridiculous to even comment on, but I'm going to do so anyway on behalf of the league. And that there is nothing that is suspicious or unwarranted with what happened last week. It was just a simple glitch. The editor of the video just put in the wrong coding, and it just kind of glitched, and that's all that is. And for whatever shadow is. Who knows? They could have been a password or key phrase they use when they put this stuff together. I'm not very familiar with the ins and outs of how our editor does his stuff, but there you have it, guys. We promise you there is no foul play. The league is in tip-top shape, and we are not worried about anything like that happening again. So rest assured, everybody. And with that, guys, good luck this upcoming week. We are very excited for the 5 matchups we got. We're very excited for the next 14 weeks ahead. And until next week, guys, we'll be seeing you, and best of luck.